Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Tailwind Talks. I'm your rotating host, David Hughes, Director of Information Technology here at Tailwind Group. A little bit about me. I've been at Tailwind Group since 2012. I've had the pleasure of experiencing a lot of Tailwind's tremendous growth. There are 2 employees still here today that were hired before me, so I like to call myself employee 3. I started off in property management. I was a property manager at a small property here in Mankato called College Station. Only about 320 beds, managed that for a couple of years. I moved on to manage the rent-a-misuse houses, roughly 80-some individual houses around Mankato, before moving into a technology role where I've been ever since. I'm not entirely sure how many years, but I have the pleasure today to interview my good friend, Bryce Andrews. Bryce has been with Tailwind for 7 years. I'll let you introduce yourself.
I don't know about good friend, but coworker initially, but now
Very close.
just as of recently, we're friends now.
All right.
I hate to say that on air, but here we are. I'm Bryce Andrews, investor relations. I started Tailwind about 7.5 years ago now. Started in the marketing department, graphic designer, and then slowly led my way into the investment team, thanks to Brandon Smith and Crystal Pierce.
Yeah, and you're doing a lot more than you're still managing. You're still doing a lot of graphic design, right?
Yeah, kind of more towards marketing, towards investors, and still creating those large packets for them and some other things.
Yeah, and we'll get into that more a little bit later. For those of you who don't know, Bryce likes to pretend like I'm not his friend. We go back a long time. I want to tell the people a little bit about how I very fondly remember when you started and some of the funny interactions I think we had at that time. So to paint the picture, to give a little bit of backstory, we were renovating our offices here in Mankato. Several of us were working, really most of the corporate team that was in Mankato was working out of a couple suites, individual office suites, in a place called Regis International, if the concept is familiar. 3 of us were in one office, and Bryce came on as a graphic designer, and he shared an office with one of our owners. And so he was separate from us. The owner wasn't necessarily in the office all the time. The 3 of us over there were having a grand old time, but there was always this weird guy that was by himself in this office over there. So we would come up with reasons to go in there, talk to him, try to figure out who this guy is. And probably the most commonly used excuse I had was to water the plant that was in there. So I'd tell Maddie, our transactions accounting manager, I'm gonna go water the plant. We'll see how it goes. So I'll report back. And I'd go in there, water the plant, try to get a little bit out of him, but he was just hammering away on his keyboard, facing the window, very diligent. It also, you always brought your own lunch, and you would never go out to lunch with us. I know you have a reason for that. Tell us more about that.
I don't think I had a reason for it.
Well, you didn't want to give me the time of day just yet, because
No.
You weren't letting me in.
It takes a lot for me to open up. I think it took 4 months to say a total of 5 to 6 words to everybody. I think Brandon Smith invited me to lunch after, I think, 3 weeks of being at Tailwind, and I turned him down and said, no, I have my own lunch. I just grind it through it as fast as possible so I can get out of here as fast as possible. So yeah, the first 4 to 6 months was pretty quiet.
Yeah. Now we've once the wall came down, we all moved into the same office. I think we got a little bit more because I like to poke the bear a little bit. We've done a variety of things, Office Olympics being one of them. I know you're incredibly competitive. I'll tell you a little bit. I mean, we've gotten close enough that I had the great fortune and I was pleased, honored that you asked me to officiate your wedding here recently. Congratulations by the way.
Thank you.
Just a couple weeks ago, Bryce married a lovely lady, Elena, far too good for him, way out of his league. But I mentioned there that I was begging to get invited to the wedding. I think that was ultimately a big goal of mine for 2024. He repeatedly told me that it was a very small ceremony and, could only fit so many people on the pavilion. Some of the responses I got back from Bryce originally were, you have too many kids, and it got to the point there was only one seat left. And he said it's reserved for the officiant. So no, truthfully, I was honored to do it. We had a lot of fun. I think you stayed out quite a bit later.
Oh, 100%.
I might.
But
have
I want
been
to
one of the first
backtrack.
guys.
My first option for the officiant was Brandon Smith. I don't know if you knew that. Maybe you knew that.
Second, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. But Brandon came to me and said, I think David would be a better option. I was like, all right, David spoke at all the Tailwind events. I think he'd be good. And that seat opened up so David could be at my wedding.
Yeah.
But no, all jokes aside, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, Dave's always been a coworker. To break that barrier to be an actual friend was big for maybe him more than me.
We had to get close though. I mean, Bryce came on at a time really kind of at the inflection point for Tailwind where we were getting very heavy into an acquisition schedule, and our corporate staff was really very limited. So those of us that kind of went through that grind got pretty close. So speaking of Tailwind taking off at that time and how busy we were, take me back though to the beginning, how you heard about Tailwind Group. I find your previous job history actually quite entertaining. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll try to give somewhat of a shorter story, but I think it started out 2012. Lived in a rent MSU house. Actually, before that, Landon Smith gave me a tour of College Town in 2010 when it first was built and the whole work. So I still have his phone number as Landon Rent MSU. So started back then, lived in a Rent MSU house. I'll keep all those stories aside. I was the tenant that a property manager probably didn't like so much. I think there's some old voicemails from myself and a few of my roommates. So our experience with Rent MSU and Tailwind was maybe not off to the greatest start, but funny interactions and whatnot. But I heard about Tailwind fast forward to 2015. I was living and working down in Okoboji, Iowa, and as many of you know, it's a fun time in the summer, but when winter hits, it's boring. There's not a whole lot to do, and it's a small town. So I was kind of looking for something else, but not really searching, and I got a phone call from the MSU wrestling coach asking if I was interested in coming back to Mankato, working, living here. He's good friends with the owners, and this opportunity came up. So I gave them a call and had an interview, and I think Reggie was the one interviewing me, and I don't think he really looked at my portfolio as a graphic designer, and I think he was just amazed that I was a wrestler and brought me on board because of
Big
that.
collegiate wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Which is fair. I want to get into more of wrestling and what you're still doing with that, both between high school coaching and MSU. But I think fondly back to a couple of the stories of your time at Rent MSU. One thing that always cracks me up a little bit is, I had a similar interaction actually with Landon, and this was well after I was in college, but thinking of what the owners did back then versus kind of their interaction with the company today. When I was in college, I toured a place called Divine Towers here in Mankato. It's a converted church that now has 8 apartments in it. I think I was maybe a sophomore or a junior. Reached out to Rent MSU. Landon was the one that gave me the tour of Divine Towers. Of course, it was several years later before I came to work here, and And then meeting Landon as one of the owners was kind of like, well, I remember you from way back. So we've got a similar thing there. Tell us a little bit about kind of going deeper into your backstory, so the people here at Tailwind and the internet at large can get to know you. Tell us a little bit about wrestling. You're, of course, you were a collegiate wrestler, but you're very much involved in the community. Tell us a little bit about your coaching history.
Yeah, it's been a sport that I've been passionate about since 5 years old, and I can't walk away from it. So, been coaching for the last 12 years now, again at the high school level, and now just as this last year at the collegiate level. So helping out back at Minnesota State, Mankato. It's been a journey. It's been fun. It's giving back to something that I believe that kind of molded me to the person I am today.
Oh boy, that's scary.
I know. As many of you know, wrestlers are probably you're not normal type of person, but give all gratitude to that sport for sure. So I just like to give back as much as possible, whether it's youth, high school level, and now at the college level now too. So it's been fun. It's been a journey.
Absolutely. It's actually fun watching you coach. I think I've gone to a couple of, not anything at MSU just yet, but I went to a couple duels at Mankato West to watch you coach. It's interesting to see you in that atmosphere. You're very much in your wheelhouse, but it's a different version of you that's just fun to watch. Speaking of you competing in high school, in college, coaching, we talked a bit about your competitive nature and Office Olympics. We're next going to do a little trivia about Tailwind.
Let's do it.
We'll see who knows it better. Thank you, Nicole.
All right, today we are playing for a gift card. Let's see who knows Tailwind the best. We've got an Ummy's gift card here.
Cool. All right. Happy hour right after this.
All right.
What year was Tailwind established?
2005.
That's not fair. He does all of the marketing material for the investment packets. That's for sure in there.
You were here before me.
Okay, next question.
What year do we have the highest number of student acquisitions?
2021.
Ding, ding, ding.
Mm.
Good.
It's also probably in the investment packet.
What is the number of states we currently operate in?
15. It's more?
No, that's right.
All right.
All right, this one I think will throw you guys because I have an exact number as
Nothing
of
throws us.
yesterday. What is the current employee total?
356.
Not
Is it
right,
right?
but very close.
379.
I'm going to give it to Dave. 352.
So
Well,
close.
it's still wrong.
Wow.
All right. What are the number of internal promotions so far in 2024?
18.
12.
No, Bryce gets that one. 23.
Wow. That's a lot.
It's great.
That's great.
All right. How many The Quarters properties do we have currently operating?
11.
13.
Is it more?
In between.
12.
All right, this is the last one. What ranking did Tailwind secure on the Student Housing Business Top 25 Housing Owners of 2023?
18.
Correct.
Quite proud of that.
I don't know who won.
Me. I'm pretty sure.
Either way, I'm sharing that gift card with you at happy hour today.
Perfect. All right.
That was good.
Thank you,
That
Nicole.
was cheesy.
That was good.
That was good. You guys did good.
That was fun. They were harder than I thought they were going to be. And no disrespect, you knew a lot more than I thought you were going to know.
No, some of those were just throwing out numbers. So
The specifically on I mentioned, I think a couple of those might have been in investor packets that you've done. Tell me a little bit more about what a day in the life of a investment relations manager looks like.
yeah, again, it's a new role within the last not even a year that I've been doing this. So again, it's just scratching the surface of learning from either it's Betsy Thiel or Crystal Pierce. I'm constantly having questions. So again, I'm just scratching the surface in this new role that I've been in, again, less than a year. But typical day, just going through my emails, kind of probably like everyone else does. Making sure if there's an email from an investor that I respond to them as quick as possible. They're priority number one when it comes to this position. But again, it varies on what's happening at Tailwind, what my day looks like, but I can kind of go through what currently is going on right now. We have two deals right now in the pipeline that we've been working on, a handful of commercial properties that we're working on. Again, you mentioned those marketing packets that I put together. Not just that, but we put together a teaser, email blast. Again, I work with Betsy Thiel and Crystal Pierce on those of kind of pumping out what is coming up for Tailwind, some investment opportunities, and we provide that information to our investors. But kind of diving a little deeper into those marketing packets, again, those are detailed packet explaining what that property is, what the university is doing, is that university growing, the rent roll, the construction cost, you name it. Nick Sheik and his team develop kind of a layout for me of all the numbers to provide to the investors. So it's a very detailed packet. Again, it goes back to overview of Tailwind and diving into that specific property, what we're trying to pitch to them. So working on that with that whole group and making sure everything's correct on that before sending out to investors. And then once that's completed, we pitch the deal to the investor, just like a site staff kind of pitches a deal to a future tenant. So we'll talk highly of that property and what all comes with that property, all the bells and whistles, and give that sales and marketing pitch just like the leasing managers do to tenants. It's just our focus as investors and making sure that they feel trusted in us and then the process, and at the end of the day to ensure great distributions and returns for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you've got a unique ability, and I hate to give you credit. No, you have a very unique ability to take what could arguably be, perceived as, numbers and stats, enrollments and rent rolls and things of that nature, and really making it very legible and easy to understand, easy to read, and really just very aesthetically pleasing as well.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to, again, I was a graphic designer and marketing for 7 years with Tailwind Group, so having that knowledge and that expertise of design and marketing, I feel like it gives me a step ahead than maybe some other companies that are doing the same exact thing that we're doing. But it's easy. It's an easy process when it comes to the design portion of it, but learning
that part flows more naturally.
Yeah,
for you.
Because I think I'm just obviously used to it. I mean,
Sure.
That's what I went to school for. Been doing that for years now.
Yeah.
And now just trying to learn the other side of business. So yeah.
Sure. You mentioned, those marketing packets, but there's other ways to get deals in front of investors. I think you guys put on investment get-togethers of some sort. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so we've done investor events throughout this whole year now. Crystal has kind of put the reins on me to put together these events, and it's been an awesome process. I never thought I would be an event planner, but working with kind of just a main contact investor for that area. So we've done one in Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and just recently Des Moines, Iowa. And finding a specific contact to work with on location and how many investors that we can get to that spot. That's kind of like the three hubs where we have a large amount of investors to gather together and pitch deals and all that good stuff. But yeah, that process is putting together, again, a presentation. We do an hour presentation of whatever upcoming opportunities that may be coming up in the pipeline. A simple meet and greet afterwards, happy hour. Again, the main feedback that we get is that these investors just want to get to know us as a team, get to know the business, and then our proven track record, all that stuff. So It's been fun getting to know these investors on a different level than just emailing back and forth. So I think that face-to-face interaction goes a long ways. And we have another investor event coming up July 25th, going back to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So it's a great group of people out there. We're excited to host them again.
That's awesome. Yeah, and from as far as I can tell on social media and things of that nature, you get a pretty good turnout. Can you tell us a little bit more about how many investors Tailwind has and what it takes to be an investor with Tailwind?
Yeah, the events, we get roughly 40 to 50 investors is a good turnout. Again, I'm still learning the ropes of how to grasp more. So we're always trying to encourage more potential investors to come out to these events. But we roughly have around 400 investors. Again, that's from family, friends, and referrals over the years. Obviously, all these ownership and leadership team members are well connected. So just kind of pushing it out to everybody. So to become an investor, you have to be an accredited individual. So I'm not going to bore you guys with all that information, but if you are interested, please reach out and we can figure out a solution from there.
Absolutely. And when evaluating deals and you're putting together this marketing material for a deal, or you've got it in the pipeline, you're having an event and you're pitching this, can you tell us a little bit more about how Tailwind and your team are evaluating deals in the market and how you're selecting them?
Yeah, I think it goes back to first and foremost is the price right for that specific property. And then from there, the ownership and leadership will research the market, the property itself, the comps, the university, whatever it may be. And then from there, they'll dive a little bit deeper. But this is an initial, is this the right fit for our portfolio? So they go into detail of, is this the Power 5 conference type of university that we want to engage in? We've had a lot of success with those type of universities. So we kind of have a niche of what we're aiming towards. But we do have some off-beaten path stuff like Mankato that's been successful. That's obviously not a Power 5 conference. And then some other smaller markets that's been successful as well. So
sure.
Yeah, every deal is unique and the way they approach it is kind of incredible.
Yeah. And I think it's, from my perspective, our team does things a little bit differently. One of our core values being, never to be out hustled. I think we live into that. We're prepared to work harder. We're prepared to do more. And of course, I'm sure with each deal, there's a due diligence process. I'm familiar with the due diligence process on the technical due diligence. I do a lot of that, but can you tell us a little bit about the due diligence process on your side of the house?
Yeah, I can talk more on kind of similar to the last question, but a little deeper with like Nick Sheik's team. They kind of handle the investment side of things when it comes to the due diligence process, but they'll dive deeper into that research when it comes to the comps, the market, the university, the property itself. They're really great at fine details of the rent roll, the construction cost, whatever it may be, to ensure that we have an attractive distribution and returns back to our investors. So they do a great job, and working with them is awesome. I'm constantly learning from that group of guys too.
Sure. Now, if you got to pick, if you could choose a market to go into, whether it's, from a analytics perspective where the money or the numbers work, or if it's just personally, if you could go into, you were going to buy in the student housing deal, where would it be and why?
Yeah. Honestly, any of our deals are great. We have, again, the proven track record that our returns and distributions are great. So, I mean, any of them is a win in my eyes. And
I have an idea.
There's not a
I've got
specific
a guess.
one. But yeah,
I think I know where you would go.
I mean, you could guess it.
I'm trying to think of who has the best wrestling club right now. Probably Penn State.
Right. That would be cool. But I've kind of thought about it, and I know we probably won't touch this market, but you never know with Tailwind Group. So anything's in the air, anything's possible. But out in California, San Diego State, I think would be awesome. Give me an excuse to go visit and check out that. And San Diego State's awesome.
Sure.
So yeah, I think that one would be kind of cool.
That'd be cool. Yeah, anywhere warm.
Yeah, 100%.
We live in Minnesota, and it's always cold here.
Yeah.
I'd happily go anywhere warm.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure.
Thank you for that, Bryce, and thank you for taking the time. We're going to come back, but for a moment, we're going to cut over to Carli and Dylan to talk about the Leasing and Marketing Belt winner of the month and the Social Icon Award winner. So let's cut to them now.
Hi guys, I'm Dylan. I'm the Outreach Marketing Specialist for Tailwind.
And I'm Carli. I'm the social media manager for Tailwind Group.
So we're a part of the marketing team.
But we haven't always been a part of the marketing team.
Right. So I started my role with Tailwind as the leasing manager at College Town. I actually started right after graduating college, so I was a brand new fresh face to the role, which I felt was like a super good time to start. I was kind of the same age as everyone that I was leasing to, so it was really fun. But you were also a leasing manager.
Yes. Yep. I was also a leasing manager straight out of college, a couple years before you. We won't age me though. But I started after college as well at the Corners Mankato. And then after 2 lease ups there, I had the opportunity to join the marketing team as the digital marketing specialist. I did that for a few years. And then just recently, we both started our new positions back in March, social media manager, and then the outreach marketing specialist.
So Carli and I actually met before I started with my role at Tailwind. She was leasing manager at the Quarters, and she gave me a tour of the lofts and the Quarters when I was looking for housing my freshman year. And she actually invited me to a pool party. So me and my friends went to the pool party at the Quarters, and we played limbo and all the fun stuff. So I was actually like kind of introduced to Carli beforehand, and I just remember your energy was so fun, and I was like, this would kind of be a fun job. Long story short, here I am.
I know, right? And that pool party, I remember it so vividly because it was the last pool party that I threw as leasing manager before transitioning. And even backing up even more, I remember reaching out to you because you had an amazing social media. And I'm like, I want this girl to live at the Quarters because you were involved with a sorority. A lot of people knew you. And I'm like, this person would be the perfect resident for the Quarters. So
Yes.
we both had those interactions with each other so long ago, but then now here we are on the marketing team working together, doing this podcast.
Such a small world.
I know.
But yeah, I was resident of the Quarters for a couple years, so you did your job well.
I did my job. One of my favorite things about Tailwind Group is how competitive everybody is.
Oh, yes.
Yes. One of our pillars of leasing is refuse to be out-hustled. And I feel like in every department, everyone has that instilled in their brain. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, literally one of my first memories of Tailwind was I started right before the Leasing and Marketing Summit. And that year we had a whole team bonding exercise where we did a kickball tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And we split up into like a bunch of different teams. And it was the most competitive atmosphere that I've ever experienced. Like, it was so fun, but so competitive. And actually the winners of that, they went on stage at the karaoke bar afterwards and they sang "We Are the Champions." Yep. And I feel like that just goes to show how Tailwind operates. Absolutely. And we just love to win. We obviously refuse to be out hustled. And that's also one of my favorite parts about Tailwind.
I know. If we win, we're going to rub it in your face and brag about it because we rightfully deserve so.
Exactly. Which brings me into the awards that we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So another competitive aspect of Tailwind is the Leasing Belt Award and the Social Icon Award. So do you want to tell us a little bit about the Social Icon Award?
Yes, I would love to. So the Social Icon Award started last summer. Our marketing team got together and we were talking about the importance of social media within the student housing industry. We came up with a posting cadence. So our site staff, they have to post a certain amount of times on Instagram, TikTok, the whole 9 yards each week. So if the site posts the required amount of times, and then if they gain followers and if they gained engagements compared to the previous month, they're in the running for Social Icon. If we still have sites that met all 3 of those requirements, then we look at the video views. So who had the most video views on TikTok and Reels last month? If they had a viral video, that's like the tiebreaker. And I'm super excited to talk about today's Social Icon winner of last month because they had a viral video on TikTok.
So who was the most recent Social Icon winner?
Yeah, so May, the Social Icon was Megan and Avery at College Town Fayetteville.
Yay.
I know, yay for them. They have been really consistent on their social media since we acquired College Town Fayetteville back in November of 2023. This deserves a backstory. So when we acquired the property, I had the privilege to travel down there and help out with the rebrand party. And so when I was there, I also got to train them in person on social media requirements. Caroline Brown's also an important person to mention in this because I feel like she had a really big play in them being organized and to stay consistent on social. So I have to train her and Avery in person on social. And since day one, they were very detail oriented. And so I had no worries that they were going to knock these requirements out of the park every week. Caroline transitioned to a property manager role at one of our other properties, the Lenny St. Louis. But Megan came in, they hired Megan, and her and Avery have tag teamed the social. You wouldn't even notice by looking at their page that there was ever a change in staffing. They've stayed consistent. And they pull in their CAs, and their CAs are more than willing to help out with their social. So this win for them was amazing. They also had a viral video on TikTok.
I saw that. That video was hilarious.
Yes. And Megan and Avery, they weren't even expecting that one to go viral. It was like one of those like very last minute, like we need to post something, let's just post it. And those are always the ones that perform better than the ones that we plan out and orchestrate and put all this work into. So that was also a really fun statistic for this month. And I want to say it's the top performing video in our whole portfolio for this leasing season.
I love that. The video was so funny. It was about Avery wanting to go home early and texting her boss, "Can I leave?" And she was like, "No, you've been here for 15 minutes." Like, It was so funny. I honestly loved watching that video.
At the time of this recording, they had over 526,000 plays on the video, 70,000 likes, the comment section's popping off. They had over 8,000 shares. So the video still today is continuing to get some traction.
Which is deserved. They have such great content. I'm so happy for them. They deserve this award.
Absolutely. Super happy that they won that award. We should mention the past winners of the Social Icon Award as well, though.
Yes.
So last month in April, we had the Quarters Columbia. In March, we had South Duff. February was the Quarters Bloomington. January was Landing Como. December was College Town Mankato.
Oh,
Dylan. But November was 109 Tower. And our first recipient of the Social Icon Award was Altitude Wichita.
All so deserved. It's been so fun to watch the properties be awarded with this Social Icon Award. It gives them like a boost of confidence, and it's like just so fun. I love it.
And we don't traditionally send them like an email to the company, like letting everyone know that they won this award. We actually take it to our leasing marketing calls. And when we all hop on there, I'll say, "All right, guys, like our May Social Icon winner is," and then whoever won the award pops on and they get to hold up the award itself. It's like a white plaque with some gold letters and it says Social Icon. So they get a moment to shine on the calls and really shout out their team members or what contributed to them winning the award.
I love that we do that because then they get like that not in person, but like over the computer, like validation, and the teams chat is always popping off. Everyone's so excited for them. It's so validating, and it's the best award. I love it.
It truly is. And if you're a leasing manager listening to this podcast, you could be our next social icon. So everyone stay on your social.
Yes.
We have 2 awards left for this leasing season. So I'm excited to see
who will it be.
I would love to see a 2-time winner.
Yes.
But who knows? It can be anyone's game.
Yup.
We'll see.
I love it. So should we talk about the Leasing Belt?
Let's talk about the Leasing Belt.
So the Leasing Belt is like a WWE style belt. It's huge. So this is actually the second Leasing Belt that we've had. We had the original one in 2020.
What happened to it?
Who knows? Who knows? It could be in Brandon's office, maybe in Lane's office, maybe it got lost. Don't know. But this new one is a lot heavier, a lot prettier. It's a lot harder to travel with.
Oh, yes. Apparently, if you're traveling in an airport with it, there's some issues with security. So
noted.
Yeah.
Basically, this belt is awarded to the property who had the most leases signed throughout the last month. So the corporate leasing managers will get together and they'll come up with this nice long article about the property, and they will highlight how many leases they had signed, any successes throughout the month, any obstacles they faced. And then they get highlighted in our newsletter. They get to be on the cover of the newsletter.
Ooh.
They also get like a section in the newsletter to just highlight everything that they did that month. And
so we're spreading the word. We're putting it out there, and everyone and anyone is going to know that this site won the Leasing Belt.
yes, and it's such like an honor. You get to take a picture with it, and it's this nice big heavy belt.
Not to brag, but I did win the Leasing Belt once when I was a leasing manager.
Did you?
And yes, and exactly what you said. When you get ready to take that picture and you're holding the belt, the heavy belt, it's just a moment of like self-validation. Like, getting these leases was really hard, but I did it. I won this award, and then you're recognized for it. So it's a full circle moment when you get to be that person that gets to hold the belt.
It's so fun to be hyped up. I can relate when I was the social icon.
Yes.
Just getting all of those like chat messages, like congratulations. It just shows like how much everyone truly cares about your success, even if they aren't specifically on your property. Like it's such a like an rewarding feeling.
It is, and it sounds so cheesy to say, but I mean, it literally warms my heart to come up with whoever wins every month and to deliver it. And then I get that team's message like, oh my God, I just received the package in the mail. And then we go through the whole thing. So definitely, I agree. 100%.
Yes, I love it. So this month's winner, so May's winner of the Leasing Belt was the Landing St. Louis.
Yes.
So Caroline and Jalissa are amazing
Oh my
girls.
God. Ray of sunshine.
Yes, literally. If you've ever talked to them or ever even been in their presence, like you just feel it. They're amazing girls. But they had 46 leases signed this last month. So they are the belt winners. They got their nice picture taken. They actually had quite a few struggles. They had a late start to leasing, so they didn't even get to start right away. They were undergoing clubhouse renovations and went through new management. So they had a lot going on, and they still managed to get 46 leases on the board. I think that's definitely something to be proud of.
Oh, 100% is.
Yes.
And they continue to keep signing the leases. I'm sure they'll be 100% soon.
Oh, so soon. They got it in the bag. But some other previous winners.
Yeah, run it through.
Yeah. So for April, it was the Landing College Station. March was the Quarters Iowa City. February was the Quarters Lawrence. January, the first of the year, was the Quarters Lincoln. And then for last year, December was the Quarters Columbia. November was the Landing Como, and October was Collegetown Oxford.
Yes.
So all around, amazing winners, all so deserved. It's just so fun to see these properties get to like take their picture with the belt and show it off. And actually, when the belt gets sent from property to property, they send a bunch of merch and swag with it. So not only do you get the belt, but you get some little goodies to congratulate you from the previous winner. So all around, it's such a fun award.
Oh, yeah. And it's really nice to have those extra t-shirts, especially with the awesome work our graphic design team does. Shout out graphic design team.
Yes, those t-shirts are cute. I want every single one of them. I wish that I could just get them each month too.
I know.
I love it.
Well, big congrats to all the winners out there that have won the Social Icon and the Leasing Belt.
I'm curious to see who's coming for the belt this month.
Me too. If you're a leasing manager listening to this right now, you could be our next winner for June. Social Icon or Leasing Belt.
Who will it be?
Who will it be?
Thank you guys for having us today.
Yes, and we will be back soon to chat more marketing.
Dylan, Carli, thank you for that, and congratulations to those winners. And thank you to Bryce. Thank you for being here. It's good to get to know you a little bit better, introduce you to Tailwind at a deeper level.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I got to give a shout out to Crystal Pierce and Brandon Smith also. But without them, I wouldn't be in this new role. So always bugging them to try to improve my role here at Tailwind Group. So shout out to those two.
No, it's excellent and well deserved. To wrap us up here, we want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you, Tailwind folks. Thank you, those that are watching online. Please follow us online. Should you have any suggestions for further episodes or questions you want to hear from some of the folks at Tailwind and future guests, please email marketing@thetailwindgroup.com. Anything else? Anything to add? Anything to close?
Happy hour.
That Ummy's gift card?
Let's go use it.
All right.
Let's go.
Thanks, Bryce.
What is the total commercial square footage owned and managed?
Game over.
I have to run upstairs to grab the other one. You broke it.
Honestly, that was pretty funny.